Today I will be watching David Lynch on creativity and all that stuff. David Lynch is my favorite director. Just this year I finished watching Twin Peaks Season 3, The Return. It was fantastic. I absolutely love the sort of horror, special effects, practical visuals, and some of the things they did with the red curtain and black and white and just the slower editing and stuff, like all these decisions to depict transcendence and like the space setting and like otherworldliness. I thought that was super duper well done. Some of the probably the best television I've seen this year, and I watched Westworld season 4 this year, which was also really good. Anyway, let's listen to what David Lynch has to say about creativity. I listen to him talk about these kinds of stuff like every few months, few times a year. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here in Boston, and thank you very much for coming here tonight.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I teach film, I make films. I would like to know, I'm not a meditator. What does meditation, can you say anything about how meditation might connects to your creative process or might help the creative process of my students or myself?
Yes, I can.
How do I feel like he's gonna answer this? He's gonna talk about like a steady stream of consciousness, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but he's gonna probably mention how like meditation puts you in a state where you're aligning yourself to sort of do things that sort of resonate with your soul, do things, make decisions, take actions that resonate with who you are, and that's where like a steady stream of inspiration for creative ingenuity comes in. He's gonna say something like that, I feel like. Yeah.
Will you?
Yes, I will. Tonight's talk is consciousness, creativity, and the brain. And if you have a golf ball size consciousness, when you read a book, you'll have a golf ball size understanding. When you look out, a golf ball size awareness. And when you wake up in the morning, a golf ball size wakefulness. But if you could expand that consciousness, then you read the book, more understanding. You look out, more awareness. And when you wake up, more wakefulness. It's consciousness. And there's an ocean of pure, vibrant consciousness inside each one of us. And it's right at the source and base of mind, right at the source of thought, and it's also at the source of all matter. And Maharishi Mahesh Yogi teaches a technique called transcendental meditation. It's a simple, easy, effortless technique that allows any human being to dive within, experiencing subtler levels of mind and intellect, and transcend and experience this ocean of pure consciousness. This pure consciousness is called by modern physics the unified field. It's at the base of all mind and all matter. And they now say, modern science says, all of matter, everything that is a thing, emerges from this field. And this field has
a unified field where everything emerges from kind of reminds me of when you're like brainstorming and you're making a mind map or whatever you want to call it, where it's like a circle chart and like the foundation, the base of the idea, the title of the video or whatever you're making, and then all these different things popping out of it, all these different, the 3-act structure, all these different things that you want to incorporate and add to it, and you get that by like going deep, kind of transcending those thoughts. And like transcendental meditation, like I don't have like a specific mantra, I just kind of remember this sort of stuff that David Lynch and Maharishi kind of talk about it. I don't always meditate. I feel like I can go like over a month without meditating because like sometimes it can feel difficult to sort of sit with my thoughts. But like lately, maybe like once or twice a week I meditated. Like last time I meditated for 30 minutes over a week ago. That was pretty beneficial when I was keeping busy. Yeah, I think the purpose of meditating, especially if you're stressed out with certain thoughts, is to sort of separate yourself and be the observer and learning to detach from those things. Yeah.
Qualities like bliss, intelligence, creativity, universal love, energy, peace. And it's not the intellectual understanding of this field, but the experiencing of it that does everything. You dive within and transcending, experiencing this field of pure consciousness, and you enliven it, you unfold it.
That makes sense what you just said, like creativity isn't just like an intellectual understanding. You also like have to feel it, have to have fun with it, have to like have that emotion towards it, yeah.
And a side effect of enlivening this consciousness is negativity starts to recede. When I started meditating, I was filled with anxieties, filled with fears, kind of a depression. These negative things like anger and depression and sorrow, they're beautiful things in a story, but they're like a poison to the filmmaker. They're a poison to the painter. They're a poison to creativity. They're like a vice grip. If you are super depressed, you can't hardly get out of bed, let alone think ideas, have that creativity flowing. So it's money in the bank to get that beautiful consciousness growing, which is flowing creativity, the ability to catch ideas at a deeper level. Intuition grows. This field is a field of pure knowingness. You dive in there, you sort of just know how to go. You know how to solve solutions. It's like an ocean of solutions. And you can just feel this thing growing. But the ultimate thing for me is the enjoyment of the doing, the enjoyment of life grows huge. I love making films now more than ever before. Ideas flow more. Everybody has more fun on the set.
So just to elaborate on what he was talking about, this is Maharishi Mahesh Yogi talking about the origin of thought. I think this is a very good clip from a 1960s thing that he did.
It is very amazing that even though all of us, we have been thinking right from the beginning of our life, but rarely we have thought. Where was the thought before we thought it? The origin of thought. Nobody bothers about the origin of thought. How the thought starts and how it develops to come to be appreciated as a thought on the conscious thinking level. A thought starts from the depth of consciousness as an air bubble from the bottom of a lake. As the air bubble starts, it's very fine, and as it comes up, it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. Coming up on the surface, it explodes, and there it is appreciated as a bubble. Like that, a thought starts from the deepest level of consciousness. Modern psychology calls it subconscious. And as it comes up, it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. Coming up on the conscious thinking level, it is appreciated as a thought. In trance meditation, we experience the thought on the ordinary thinking level, on the surface level of the mind, on the conscious thinking level, and appreciate its finer states till the conscious mind reaches the source of thought, and thereby the conscious mind expands. By the time the conscious mind has experienced the source of thought, full depth of the subconscious has been explored. Nothing remains subconscious. The whole subconscious is incorporated in the conscious, and this is called the expansion of the conscious mind. This is the way to use one's full mental potential.
So, to summarize, I guess, the unified field, the subconscious, where it gets information from, once you become like aware of this infinite potential, like the source of thought, this is going to expand your subconscious into like the goal of like not thinking, the goal of thinking better thoughts, right? Yeah.
An idea comes, and you see it, and you hear it, and you know it.
How does it come?
It comes like on a TV in your mind.
You know, there's a line I've always loved of Leonard Cohen. He said, if I knew where the good songs came from, I would go there more often.
Absolutely. People, we don't do anything without an idea. So they're beautiful gifts. And I always say, desiring an idea is like a bait on a hook.
Yeah.
It can pull them in. And if you catch an idea that you love, that's a beautiful, beautiful day. And you write that idea down so you won't forget it. And that idea that you caught might just be a fragment of the whole, whatever it is you're working on. But now you have even more bait. Thinking about that small fragment, that little fish, will bring in more. And they'll come in and they'll hook on. And more come in, and pretty soon you might have a script, or a chair, or a painting, or an idea for a painting.
But they come as in small...
More often than not, small fragments. I like to think of it as in the other room, the puzzle is all together, but they keep flipping in just one piece at a time.
In the other room...
Over there.
In a sense, David, there's always another room somewhere.
That's a beautiful thing to think about.
One door closes, another opens.
Now you think about it.
So yeah, this reminds me of how earlier this year, back in June, July, after I took like a couple writing classes, basically I've been writing this idea for a TV series, and for like a year I did not think that I would have more than 3 or 4 scripts of 3 or 4 episodes. But after getting feedback after the class and teachers saying that they really liked it, for like a year I had only written 3 episodes. Then from July to September I had written episodes 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, just because I had challenged myself, just because I had done more research. And like one of my biggest struggles was like trying to think of good dialogue, and so like this method of like catching ideas, right? When I tried to learn about like the biomechanics of dialogues, like people only say and do things if they want to, those sort of principles. It's interesting how for several of those days, for a few months when I was trying to write those scripts, like the moments before I would fall asleep, when my mind was in the, I think it's the theta wave, when you're like almost falling asleep, my brain was like randomly thinking about, giving me random ideas, like dreaming up, conjuring up these scenarios of my favorite TV shows, saying random dialogue in the random new scenarios that these characters were in. And some of this dialogue really inspired me, and like obviously I didn't remember all of it when I had waken up. But yeah, it's kind of like automatic writing. You had the intention, you did the research, now like you're being fed some of these scenes of what your subconscious knows that you like from the TV shows that you watch. Yeah, it's interesting learning about your own creative process and how that relates to the sort of general creative process of everyone else.
And so you just stay alert, do your work, don't worry about the world going by. It doesn't mean that you can sit around and not do anything. You've got to get your butt in gear and do it. And don't take no for an answer. Translate those ideas to cinema or to a painting or to whatever. And figure out a way to get it done.
Yes. Alright, and this is a short film that he made. It's called I Have a Radio. It's pretty cool. I haven't watched it in a while. Let's check it out. How did he do this? What software did he use? So if you saw like the documentary about him from like 2014, The Art Life, you know, like when he was younger, he used to make paintings that kind of looked like this, kind of abstract, kind of minimalist, kind of black or white colors. He used to make drawings similar to this. So maybe this is representative of like the subconscious. There's two selves. Maybe one of them is like the shadow self. One of them is like the light consciousness. Like it could represent whatever, right? Yeah. And this background, this like black thing right here, is like the sort of border wall that kind of separates the two.